Today we're going to look at the words to "A Mighty Fortress is Our God." And again, there are multiple ways to interpret a song, and so mine is not the only way and probably not even the best way. We'll also look at some related words to the words that we're doing in this song. All right, so there are a lot of new words here. Um, but we will, again, as always, go more quickly through the words that we've done before on previous lessons. Remember that I'm left-handed, so you want to mirror image me if you're right-handed. All right, so we have mighty. For fortress, there are two ways that I've seen for that. This is kind of like the towers on a fort or a castle, and so you can do it this way or you can do it this way. So whichever way you choose to do it. Fortress. This is kind of like, you know, the towers defending something back here, and this just shows more towers. Okay, so we have a mighty fortress is our, we probably would leave those out for time's sake. This is the sign for our, the flat possessive hand, God. A bulwark, for bulwark you could redo fortress, or what I'm choosing to do is defend place. So here's defend, and then take P's and do the sign for place. So defend place is what I'm going to use for bulwark. Never, we've done that before. And failing, we've done that before. Our, helper, you do help, and then person sign. So helper, he. Amid the flood of mortal ills prevailing. So for flood, I'm not going to do the sign for flood because that has to do with water. So basically what it's meaning is that there are many mortal ills. So for amid, we're going to do during, and for the flood, we'll say many. For mortal, we'll say human. You take an H and kind of back up here, and you do like the same motion as for life, but with an H. So mortal ills. Now for ills, you could do sickness, you know, like sick, but we're really talking about sin. The mortal ills are sin. So I'm going to do the sign for sin there. So we've got amid the flood of mortal ills. So I'm going to do during, many, human, sin. And then for prevailing, we'll do continue or endure, which would be the same thing. Okay, for still, our ancient foe. So the signs for still would be for and still. This is yet or still. You can leave those out, and you can even leave out the hour if you want to. For still, our ancient foe, depends on how fast you can sign and if you can keep up. So for ancient, there are several different things you could do. You could do old, which is like, you know, a long beard like this, or the sign for generation is like that. So that's like future generations. But you could do ancient, you know, go backwards to do ancient. So ancient generations. So in other words, this foe has been around for generations. And so you could do that. That's what I plan to do. So for still, our ancient. For foe, it's the sign for enemy is an opposite person. Do the person sign. Opposite person. Doth seek. So this is seek. To work us woe. Rather than work, you could do the sign for work here, but I'm going to do the sign for does seek to do us evil. So do. So this ancient foe is doing things that are evil. It is his work, so you could do work. And during the song, I might actually forget it and do work like I did in church this morning. So seek to work, and you can do either this way or this way. Okay, so to work us, and you could leave that out. This is us with a U. It's just like the word our, O-U-R, but the possessive has the flat hand, and us is the U, and we is the W. We've done that before. For woe, I'm going to use evil. So this is the sign for evil or Satan or devil. And make sure you do your fingers like this, because if you have your fingers straight up, that's horse. And horses are not evil. Horses are awesome. Okay, so that's evil. Okay. His craft and power are great. So his, in this case, we're talking about the ancient foe. We're not talking about God. So we don't want to do his up here. We want to point to Satan somewhere else. You can put him anywhere you want, actually, and then address him there. Okay, so his, for craft, I would do skill, like this. That's what it looks like. His craft or skill. And power, I do a P and come like this. Power, that's one way to do power. It's my favorite way. Are great, and this great is big. It's not wonderful. Sometimes, I use wonderful for the word great, but not in the case of Satan and his power. So it's big. And armed with cruel hate. So armed, he's not really armed with guns and stuff, so I'm not going to do like the army sign. I'm going to do full. So he's full of hate. So his craft and power are great and armed or full of. Cruel hate. Now there's a couple ways to do cruel. I'm going to take like double X's and come down. It actually kind of hurts when you do that, unless you miss. So cruel. You could do cruel this way with A's. Cruel. Cruel. And then for hate, you take your middle finger and hate. Okay, so his craft and power are great and armed with cruel hate. On earth is not his equal. Okay? See if we can get through the second verse. We'll probably just do verses 1 and 2 in this video, and then 3 and 4 in another video. All right, so did we in our own strength confide? So for did we, basically that's kind of like suppose. Suppose we in our own strength confided or depended is what I'm going to say. So this is suppose or if. So suppose we in our own strength depended. Okay, then our striving, for striving, this is try or strive. You can do it with A's. And the way I remember this sign is it kind of reminds me of the motion of starting up a motorcycle. You're trying to start your motorcycle, vroom, 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 vroom. So you can either do T's or A's. So I usually do T for try, for striving, whatever, just do it. So our striving would be losing. I would leave out the would be and just say losing. Okay, if not the right man on our side. So again, I'm doing that suppose or if, suppose the right man was not on our side. So if not the right, and then for man on our side, I'm going to have the man up here, God, coming down and being on my side, walking with me side by side. Okay, so we're not the right man on our side. The man, that's the sign for man, male, fine. This is the sign for fine. Male, fine. A woman is female, fine. Okay, so the man of God's own choosing. For choose, you put 2 fingers like this, and you choose. You choose the one close to you. Choosing. Okay, so we're not the right man on our side. the man of God's own choosing. Thus ask who that may be. So I would make this simple and I would just say, ask who, and look with a question mark. You know, this is asking, not, well, this can be asked depending on what you're asking. So, but this is like a question. Ask who that may be. Because this is more like a request, like I'm asking you for something, or this is also the sign for pray. So ask or pray, that's not what I want to do here. I want to do ask like a question, ask who that may be, and just put a questioning look on your face. And that's all there is for that whole 6 words. Just ask who that may be. And then Christ, Jesus, for, you could do truly if you want to, or you can leave that out and just say he. So I'll probably say truly he. Okay. Lord Sabaoth, his name. Now, some people might think that Sabaoth means Sabbath, but that's not what it means. It's actually a Hebrew word that means of all armies. He's the Lord of all the armies. So that's what you want to say. So for Lord Sabaoth, we're going to do Lord. For of, which you could skip if you wanted to, but just spell O-F real fast, of. And then we've had all before. That's where you're scooping up all the air and putting it in your hand. All armies. So he's the Lord of all armies. And your fists are right under each other. I have to stand on my tiptoes here. Maybe I could put this down a little bit. Maybe that's better. Okay, let's see, where am I? Okay, Lord Sabaoth, Lord of all armies, his name, from age to age the same. So again, we could do this a little differently. You could just say forever the same, or you could say like from generations, forever, or you could just do generations and then the same. Okay. All right. So, and you can do the from if you want to. From generations the same. That's what I'm planning to do, if I remember what I'm planning to do. Okay. And he must win the battle. So, and, which you could leave out. He must, and then win the battle. Okay, so that was the first 2 verses. So see the next video for verses 3 and 4.